Hey guys, welcome to Legacy Acres.
Well, we're excited to show you the next steps in our process here of building our 3,500 square foot home for under $300,000. So I'm going to talk a little bit now more in depth about the type of construction that we're using to build our home. The phase right now is the foundation phase, so we have the stem wall forms in place as well as the piers down the center that are going to carry the load-bearing columns for the ridge line. We're using something called ICFs, which is an acronym meaning Insulated Concrete Forms. And here's a section of it right here. It is 2 panels of EPS foam with a 6-inch core in between them. It's got plastic ABS webbing inside with grooves to hold the rebar in place. And these go together basically like giant Legos. They have these plastic locking tabs. They snap together really securely. And it's basically a permanent form system that you don't have to remove after the concrete is poured inside, and you get a very substantial amount of R-value insulation when it's done. And we're also going to have some insulation panels that go on the underside of the slab to insulate the slab from the bottom. So the entire home structure is going to be insulated on all 6 sides. So 4 walls, the roof, and the floor, all going to be very thoroughly insulated. And this particular company is Element ICF, distributed by Logix Brands, and it's a product. This is I'm using it for the first time. I really like it a lot. I've used some other brands in the past. This is one I'm a big fan of and one I'll probably stick with from this point on. Okay, so I'm going to show you some more detail here of our foundation. So we have a what was supposed to be a 6-inch wide footing, but it kind of blew out a little bit bigger than that. And it's 6 inches deep from grade, and we have a compacted pad here that is very drains very well, some very good fill dirt. And so how we're going to do this stem wall is it's going to be a stem wall and a footer both in one. So we have the ICF set up, and they are propped up off the bottom of the trench a couple of inches. So as we fill them with concrete, the concrete will kind of come out the bottom, and it'll have a solid base when it sets for the stem wall to set onto. So if you look down inside here, you'll see we have 2 number 5 bar in the bottom. That's going to be the footing reinforcement. And then as we stack these ICFs, we have a number 4 bar. We have 1 in each course of ICF that run horizontally, and that provides the tension reinforcement in this wall. And then after all the horizontal bars in place, we'll go through here, and every 4 feet we'll have a vertical number 5 bar that slides in between them all. That'll get hammered into the pad, and when the concrete's poured and set, all that will be very securely tied together. So we'll have a monolithic stem wall and footer. And once this stem wall is poured and set, then we'll level this fill out on the inside. We've got some fill gravel over there. We'll put around the perimeter, get everything compacted very well, nice and level, and then we'll come back with our insulating panels, and we'll set those on top of the fill, and they will get tied into this insulating foam on the inside of the wall, and then that will provide a vapor barrier, an insulation, and also a method for securing our underslab heat tubing, which is something we're doing on this as well. And down here in the center, you see we have these 24-inch diameter pier forms, and we're going to have concrete piers 8 foot on center, and that's going to hold the columns which support the load of the ridge beam of the house. So we'll have, most of those columns will have the wall built into them, so we'll only have one that'll end up in kind of an open space, and we'll kind of use that to be a accent feature in our dining area. Okay, I'm going to show you how easy this stuff is to work with. So I have 2 blocks I've got left to put in. I have to cut them to length, and then I'll go install them. So I'll show you how to do that. Easiest way to do it is with a framing square, tape measure, and a pruning saw. That's my favorite way to cut these things. So I already know my length. It is 34 inches. Right in one of these little grooves here, so it's super easy to mark that and know right where I'm cutting it. Same on both sides. I know I said I need the framing square, but I forgot that mark landed right in one of these lines, so I actually don't need it for this one. And then simply just use the pruning saw and follow that line. can use a standard carpenter's circular saw. I've done that in the past, but I found out that the EPS foam tends to kind of melt and stick and gall to the blade, and it'll kind of cause it to bind up sometimes and cause the saw to kick back. And it's kind of a pain as well as being a little bit dangerous. The pruning saw is just as fast cutting this foam, so that's my preferred way to do it. That's all there is to it. All right, let's go get this installed. These blocks have these interlocking nubs here on the ends that allows the ends to lock firmly together, but because I have a cut on this end of the block, I'm cutting the nubs off on this one, that way it'll sit flush. And it's as simple as just push it in there and push the locking system in place. And get it tight. I'm making it look difficult because this is the last block in this row, so it's a really tight squeeze. Normally, when you're just stacking them together and you don't have the final fit piece, it goes together a lot easier than this. You hear those locking teeth engaging, kind of zipping together. And once you have those things together, they're very difficult to get apart. Ask me how I know. All right, that's the final piece on this side. I've got to do the same thing on the other side, and then that'll be it. And I can go through here, zip tie all the butt joints together, and put the final course of horizontal reinforcing bar in this course of block, and we'll be ready for our vertical pins, and we'll be done with that. And then it'll be time for getting everything braced and pouring concrete. So here is how you use the zip ties to secure these together. There's other brands that use metal clips, spring clips. I've used those before. Those work well, but they're really sharp, and I have cut myself pretty badly on them before. The zip ties are quicker, and in my opinion, I think it's a more secure way of doing it. So most of these do not need you to attach one course to the next because they have those plastic clips. They lock together very, very well. There's no way they're pulling apart, especially on a wall that's this low in elevation. But the butt joints can occasionally tend to separate. So I like to go through and use these zip ties to attach the web together. So pretty simple. You just go underneath like this and keep the zip tie centered because the rebar is going to go either side of center. And just put it around those webs. So I've got the butt end of a block here and the butt end of another block here. And just put it together as tight as you possibly can. Well, I broke that one. Zip thing came apart. So let's put another one in there. I got plenty of them. So maybe don't go as tight as you possibly can. That's a little too much for these zip ties, I guess. And they do make a zip tie tightening tool that allows you to get these things tighter, but it's not really super critical, so that'll be up there. That's that end of it. Get one on the other end here.